to The Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm participating in 2 YouTube hops. The first one is called Follow Sketch February, and that's put on by Sandy Reversky, and her YouTube channel is called State Goddess, and the Facebook group with all the information is called Scrapping Reflections. And there's a scrapbook sketch for each day of February. I'm participating just a few times because I don't have time to do this every day. You can also just do the sketches and post your pictures over on her Facebook page, and you could do whichever sketches that you like. So the one I'm doing today is for February 22nd. Today's sketch is by Karan Gerber, and it comes from the sketchabilitiesblogspot.com. So to start with, I'm doing some stencil work using my Distress Oxide, and this is called Dusty Concord. And I'm using my blending tool just to blend in the stencil. And as you can tell from the sketch, it has stenciling up above in the right-hand corner and then down below in the left-hand corner. So I'm using the stencil that I purchased a while back that I haven't used yet, and it's to make gingham, so you only need one color of ink to do it. The second part of the stencil that I did has these fine diagonal lines, so that took a lot longer to make sure I was getting the ink through all those little fine areas. The ink pad I'm using, since it is Distress Oxide and it's pretty juicy, so I was able to get the coverage. In fact, I had a lot of ink on my hands, and you'll see I do get some smudges, but I'm going to be adding paper to the layout after this, and that'll help cover up the smudges. The sketch shows some large ink splatters on both of the corners, but I decided to do mine a little bit finer, and I'm using the Distress Oxide Seedless Preserves for this. I do prefer a fan brush for this technique, but mine went missing several months ago, so eventually I'm going to have to buy me a new one because it hasn't shown up. To do the splatters, I'm just mixing some water in with the ink. The second hop that I'm participating in is called Simple Stories Saturdays, where we get together once a month and use Simple Stories products to make a scrapbook page, and this is put on by Joanne Bartel. In the sketch, it looked like it had one larger piece of paper, which is the one I stenciled, on top of another, so I gutted this piece of paper that's from the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Essentials Color Palette collection, and this one is called Purple Collage, and I have it on the gingham side, but I'll be using the reverse side that I gutted out to use as some of the paper that's underneath the photos. I used a Creative Memories border punch to punch out this border strip that I made out of this purple cardstock, and I'm just putting some double-sided adhesive to it and adhering it to the larger side of my frame that I made. When I started to put my white paper on, or to see how it was fitting, I noticed that the border was on crooked, so then I had to pull that up and put it back on, which was a little hard to do because it was sticking pretty good. At least, even though it did rip underneath, I was able to move it over without much damage. Then I just adhered my white paper that I already stenciled to the frame using Nuvo Deluxe glue, and I decided to use that so in case I get it on crooked, it's easier to move it first, and also I could get it closer to the side since I only have a 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive. I don't have any 1/8 inch. For some reason, I seem to be sold out of that in a lot of places. I think ever since the pandemic, it seems like when you get low on tape, you have to wait quite a while before the stores seem to have any of it back in stock. I went ahead and cut out some paper according to the sketch, although I did make mine a little bit bigger because I'm using larger photos than what's in the sketch. Also, I'm just using 2. So the yellow paper that I cut out comes from the Simple Vintage Linen Market collection, and the polka dotted one is called Life is Sweet. And then the purple collage looking one that I put on top, that is just the one that I gutted, but it's the reverse side. I also cut out some of the polka dotted paper for those little strips that go on the side, and all of the rectangles I trimmed with a corner rounder to give it that round shape that you see in the sketch. And then for the strips that go underneath the photo, those thinner strips, I cut out a strip from what I also had left over from the paper that I gutted and used the gingham side. And I wanted to use that side because the only way I had it longer was on the gingham side because it was going the wrong direction for the other side. And also I needed to put something that contrasted on top of the collage paper. I just kind of try to arrange everything how I think it'll go to accommodate the pictures that I chose, and then I use my Nuvo Deluxe glue to glue down all the paper. This sketch shows another little border that goes under the embellishments on the right hand side, so I decided to use one from the sticker sheets, and this is from Simple Stories Designer Sticker Book, and it's from the Simple Vintage Essential Color Palette. I decided to go with the gingham that came from the yellow instead of the purple so that I could have another thing that is yellow with a different pattern to it. I decided to use paper from two collections because I wanted to bring in a different pattern other than just the gingham and the collage, because this layout required several different layers of paper, and also the pictures that I'm using have yellow and purple in it. And the companion page I'm putting this with was of a Mexican celebration for their Independence Day, which included all the colors in the flag, and so yellow was one of the colors in the flag, so I wanted to use the yellow, and also I used the same border punch as I did on that page so that it would tie the two pages together a little bit. So don't feel that you always have to use everything that's in one collection. You can combine things that either coordinate together or have similar colors or good contrasting colors. As I was gluing everything together, I realized that there was a circle element on the sketch, so I decided to use this doily. I figured that goes really well with the vintage look of the papers. Now these strips I cut a little bit bigger than they show in the sketch because my photos are larger. I needed them to be longer so they'll hang above and below the photos like they do in the sketch. I'll put a list of all the products that I'm using in the description below. Some of these will be affiliate links. They don't cost you anything extra to use, but I do get a small commission from any sales that the links generate, and that helps support my channel. I mounted my two photos on the same reddish purple cardstock that I used for the border, and I'm just using mounting squares to attach them to my layout. I put white post-it tape on the faces of the people in the pictures because these are juveniles and I wanted to protect their privacy. I added a sticker from the Simple Vintage Essentials Color Palette, their cardstock stickers, and then I wrote the date where I knew this came from, and I just put May 2021 because I didn't know the exact date, just the month. And then after I wrote it, then I realized that I had written it in English instead of Spanish, but that's okay because I figured May and Mayo was almost the same, and also I know the girl I'm giving this to did take English classes, so she'll probably know what it stands for anyway. While I was doing this voiceover, my sister discovered this marker on the floor all chewed up, so I must have dropped it off my desk at some point before I started doing the voiceover. My sister, I think, found it in the family room with, of course, Telltale chewing up, which obviously my little dog Vicky must have got a hold of it. So now I no longer have a purple micron pen. So I continue looking through all my different stickers. I have the sticker book as well as the sticker sheet that came with the color palette collection and some die cuts. So I just searched through those to figure out where I'm going to put on my layout according to the sketch of where they have some embellishments. I'll put a list of all the people that are in the Simple Stories Saturdays hop below so you can continue hopping along and get ideas of how to scrapbook using a variety of different products from Simple Stories. And there's so many different talented ladies that participate in this hop, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of really good ideas. Also, I'll have the link to the playlist for Follow Sketch February, where you can see different ways that people use this sketch as well as other sketches we've done throughout the month. And that helps you to see that you can use sketches different ways. And just like I didn't use the configuration of the photos like and the sketch, you can change yours up. You can flip the sketch or make whatever adjustments you need to accommodate your pictures and whatever products that you have. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.